Why, hello, I'm Christopher Huntingford. This is Beyond the Banks of the Tennessee River podcast. I have a lot of special guests today. The room is full. We're here today to talk about the formation of the new Fire District 10 firehouse. And these are the people that are some of the people that are absolutely responsible for this project. I have with me David Whitaker, Fire Chief and Fire Coordinator.
Decatur County.
Mm-hmm. Doug Kibbe, Vice President of the board that's putting this together. He's also former city manager of Clifton. We have Randy Kennedy, the treasurer on the board and county commissioner for South Decatur County. And Cerise Morris, head of the fundraising committee. And you do everything, keep the Tennessee River beautiful, many boards, and you excel at all of them. So we're going to start very quickly just by talking about how did we get to a need for a firehouse and what brought that about?
I'll begin. ISO, the insurance organization that does homeowners insurances, came into Decatur County. They come in on a regular basis, and they came in 2016 and looked at the county as a whole, where trucks were needed, where fire stations were needed, where equipment was needed and stuff to try to get at least 85% coverage, of the residents, be able to make a quicker fire response and hopefully lower some insurance premiums for some of these folks. And so this original map was drawn out, and ISO looked at all the different pockets, and they identified 3 specific areas that were lacking in fire protection. And so they were on the north end, Ponderosa, in the middle of Decatur County, the Fisherdale Golf Course area, and then the southern Decatur County, which is the Clifton Bridge area. I didn't, without mentioning that, each of the different homeowners associations in this area. And so we started working, and we knew Ponderosa would be I won't say the easiest to get, but had the biggest need. It had the larger area, and our fire response primarily was coming out of southern Benton County, and so we were able to build that station within a couple of years. We got that first station up and built, and we have 2 trucks in there now. Started with the first truck, and when I say truck in the fire business, an engine carries water and a truck carries ladders. But here in the rural, we call, if it drives by and it's red, we call it a fire truck. But they're actually fire engines or pumpers. And in the rural area, we want them to carry at least 1,000 gallons of water. Some of them 1,200, some of them even as much as 1,500. Because an 1.5 inch pre-connect, which you pull up to a fire and you pull a pre-connect to the fire hose, puts out about 125 gallons a minute. So if you pull 2 pre-connects and start trying to fight a kitchen fire or whatnot, you very quickly run out of water. 1,000 gallons doesn't go very far. And that's where your mutual aids and automatic aids with the surrounding station, sister stations is so important. And that's another reason that this station will be so important, to be able to back up Bass Springs as well as Hardin County fire districts. There's a pocket here that needs to be that needs fire protection. The second station built in the golf course there in Fisherdale, and it took us about 2.5 years to complete that project. And now this is the third, and I won't call it the final project because obviously things grow and expand. But this is the third expansion, District 10. It's going to cover a large populated area on the southern banks of Decatur County, and is well needed. And I'm excited that this project's coming to fruition.
A quick question on the two areas that have already been addressed.
Mm-hmm.
Were those volunteer or were they city maintained?
Decatur County is 100% volunteer. I am the only paid county employee in the fire service. There are a few in the city of Parsons that are PSOs, but for Decatur County, we are 100% volunteer.
Excellent. So who spearheaded? You spearheaded the event.
Well,
We'll cut that part out.
I'm the coordinator. I prod the local communities and HOAs. I present the project to them and say, look, hey, look what we should do. Look what we can do. And they take the ball and run with it. And this case on this, Randy I presented, actually, I presented this about 4 years ago and it never got anywhere.
I like the word you used, prod, because that's what you pushed me.
You can definitely edit that out. But we attempted this project a couple of years ago, and it didn't. Randy had enough foresight.
So David and Mayor Creecy came to me and asked for help in trying to get this started. First of all, we appreciate you giving us time to come on and
Absolutely
present it to the communities to make them aware of what our needs are and what everybody's going to benefit from by this. So little did I know that it was going to be such a large undertaking. We've been working on this about 1.5 years. Started out with trying to get some community leaders together to see what need was there and how energetic everybody was going to be with this. We had a small community leadership meeting at Mio Mayo's and asked about 12 or 15 people to show up, and we had like 40 show up. So very, very much enthusiasm about this project. So then we had to create a board. We had to get a 501c for the organization. Well, first we actually had to get the county commission to approve the new fire district. And so it took a while to build all of this. And everything's been moving forward. We actually now have all that completed. And we have a lot that was donated by Mark Pulley. Thank you very much, Mark. And my neighbor, Sean Bledsoe, has actually cleared that lot. So we have a 1/2 acre lot already cleared, already has the 911 designation with an address. And so now we're trying to reach out with fundraising and start. We have a building design that has been selected. I will tell you that just this week, Decatur County Commission has given us $20,000, and we're going to use this as a multi-purpose building, so community center type facility as well. And haven't even talked to the board about this yet, but we're hoping that if our fundraising efforts are strong enough, maybe we can increase the size of the building that we're starting out with. So very, very positive things going into the holidays. And I personally would actually hope we're starting to build by summer. So you better get to finding some fire trucks.
There you go.
But that's kind of, in a nutshell, that's kind of what we're trying to achieve here. Two big purposes: fire time response from the station to the houses. Sadly, we've had over the last 1.5 years, I think 2 houses that have burned. And one of those houses, right before we had our initial meeting, burned to the ground over in the Covenant Cove area. So there's a great need for that. And a lot of things this building can do, like I said, as a community center. The board has not gotten together yet to future board meetings and make it aware to the public of, can you rent this building for like birthday parties or things like that, or other fundraisers. I think you're going to talk about some community involvement and.
You talked about a lot of people that showed up for the meeting. For those who don't know me, my name's Doug Kibbe. I'm the vice president of the board. When we got the meeting together at Mio Mayo's, a few folks volunteered, which we really appreciate. And make sure we get to the location of the building too, because we're talking about it, but it's not right point where it's at. But our current board members, the president couldn't be here with us today, is Joseph Creecy. Of course, I'm the vice president. Our treasurer is Randy Kennedy. Kyle Blues, our secretary, and we also have Paul Martillo, Clay Maxwell, Steve Hendren, Christy Frost, and Cerise Morris on the board. She's primarily our fundraiser piece of this, and as Randy talked about, we want to get the money together as soon as we can because we want to start construction this coming summer. So we want to have that hopefully wrapped up by the end of the springtime. On the fundraising committee are Jason Leonard, Erica Maxwell, Frank Naylor, Lynn Bledsoe, Chris Morris, and Don Edgar. And you probably recognize a lot of those names because folks are just stepping up because it's something that's needed, and any support we can get would be great, especially on the fundraiser committee. It doesn't have to be okay. They've got your team together. Anybody wants to volunteer for that, please do so and help us out in that endeavor. But we're looking at multiple communities to cover, and this is just inside the district. This does not mean that we will not respond outside the district, as David talked about. But mainly we're looking at Riverstone, River's Edge, Old Ferry Landing, Scenic Lane, Twin Peaks, the Sioux, Crow, and Kalijah areas, Gravelsmith, Edgewater, Bob's Lake, Eagles Nest, Martin's Landing, and Highway 641 up to Three-Way. And that's not all inclusive. There are other communities in those areas that we'll cover. So if I didn't mention your particular area, it doesn't mean that we won't respond, because we're just trying to make sure that, once again, we have the services available in case somebody unfortunately has a fire at their home or close by, that we can take care of that. But any help, or if anybody listening to this podcast wants to volunteer in any aspect or any way, please do so. I'll keep adding the names to the list, because the more we have, the better we have, and better it'll be for everybody to get this project all the way through fruition, including volunteers. Anybody that's anybody in the Navy that used to be in the Navy is a firefighter. We've been through the firefighter training. I've been through it 4 times myself. 1 week class. So it's any folks that have that background and would like to volunteer, we really appreciate that.
If I can jump back in here, I failed to mention a very important member of this organization, our fire chief. We have a fire chief selected. We're very lucky. He has moved into River's Edge community, and his name is Steve Fuston. He's from West Texas, has an entire career as a fire chief and an EMS chief. So we have a very, very experienced person going to take over this fire station.
Just for those trying to figure out where the fire station is going to be located at, as you're heading north and from Hardin into Decatur County across the bridge, you go all the way to the top of the hill, you go all the way down the bottom, and just before you get to Ski Daddy's, Bass Springs Mercantile on the left-hand side, you'll see a new storage location right there on the right-hand side. It's just across the road, and I'm trying to think of the name of that road. Glory Lane, which is a very short road, and it tees in. You take a left, and you can't miss it. Actually, from the road 641, you can see where the area is being cleared for the fire station.
So the city's been very generous in awarding $20,000 towards the project. The county has been generous in awarding $20,000.
Yes, big shout out to the commissioners, and for those that attended the meeting of the night. It was unanimous. No votes, but we really appreciate it, because that's 20,000 goes a long ways towards our current goal of 80,000. If we can get more, that would be great to maybe expand on the building.
And that's just for the structure. The county also in 16 made the commitment to these other communities that if you build the building, we will provide the fire apparatus, we will provide the tools, the equipment, the things that you need to meet that NFPA standard for that vehicle. So that's the reason Randy mentioned I better be fine. And a fire truck, sometimes they're difficult to find at a reasonable cost. But over the last 8 years, we've acquired 4 or 5 additional fire engines, basically replacing some of the older 1985 and 86 models stuff with 2000 era equipment. And so that commitment and also for training, I want to mention that as well. We teach the 64-hour, the state firefighter basic class here in Decatur County. It's difficult for volunteers to go to bell buckle or take 2 weeks out of their day, or that have kids at home and work. And so we provide that training 2 nights a week. We start every January. It runs 10 weeks. It's we call it the basic 64-hour class, and this will be the 7th or 8th year we put that on. So if someone doesn't have the training, like Doug mentioned, someone doesn't have the training, we can get you to the point where you'd be comfortable. And not just firefighter volunteers. These community centers, quote, fire departments need volunteers. Everything from a building committee to helping clean up around the station, to ladies auxiliary, to they become community centers. They become community oriented, and it's a place to have meetings and talk, and they play bunco, and they play pickleball, and there's all kind of things that communities do with these buildings, and it's a great way to get started.
So how is fundraising going?
We are off to a good start. We've had all these other things that took us a while to get together, so now we're really kicking this off. We're so thankful and so excited about the $20,000 from Decatur County. We've probably got about $7,500 that we've collected in the bank so far. We've gotten some really good, strong verbal commitments for close to another $10,000 that should be coming in. But, we've got a long way to go. And like we've all talked about, we want to have our money in the bank before we start building. Like we want, we're not going to go and borrow and, people have to sign and pay interest and all that kind of stuff. So we got a long way to go. There will be a QR code on this video that you can scan with your phone and make a donation right then. One thing I want to point out, the vendor that provides the QR code does charge a 3% fee on the credit card. It's optional if you want to cover that fee or not. And we would appreciate it if you do, but if not, that's fine. You'll also be able to write checks. We have a P.O. box, which we'll be putting on the screen in Decaturville, that you can mail checks to. You can also give checks to any of us that are on the board or anyone on the fundraiser committee, made out to Decatur County Fire Station 10. So we'll have the board members' names and pictures on here for you guys. That some of you may know them by face, but not by name. If they're in your community, yes, please feel free to provide them with a check. I wanted to just share a couple of personal observations that I've had. My name is Cerise Morris. I've been coming to this area of the river since 2001. So going on 25 years. Mostly living in the South Decatur County, either on the weekends or full time. And the bridge, which was completed in 95, I believe, so really 30 years ago, if you think about all those communities that Doug named, have really primarily developed since the bridge was put in. So that's a lot of it, development in the last 30 years, and that's only going to continue to grow. There is so much to offer in South Decatur County with the marinas, the beaches, the islands. But one of the things in selling real estate that I do hear quite frequently, especially people of our age, they're getting older, ready to retire and stuff. They want to know, where are the emergency services? How far is it? How much is my homeowner's insurance going to be? And just in selling river property, I want to point out a few things that are different for these properties that are located very close to the Tennessee River. When you talk about ISO rating, and if you're in 5 miles or 3 miles of the fire station, well, if you go 5 miles down Highway 128 or 641, and it's a straight paved road with emergency lanes, that's 5 miles. If you add 3 miles or 4 miles of gravel road in there that maybe one car can even get down, there's hills, there's twists and turns. A lot of river property becomes very hilly, very remote. There's only one way in, one way out. Some of the buildings, homes do not have 911 addresses. There's fire hydrants every so often, but not always very readily accessible. So just learning from David, how important it is to have that extra 1,000 gallons of water or whatever readily available on that truck. There's a lot of elevated homes in our area. Elevated homes, where I live in Martin's Landing, my bedroom's on the 3rd floor. And I thought, well, okay, let me get me a ladder that is 3 stories long that'll go out my window. So if my house is on fire, I can get down and out, not thinking that it's 18 foot to my 1st floor before the 2nd floor. So I'm probably going to be hanging about 25 feet up. If y'all come, please get me out of the trees. But because of the nature of elevated homes, a lot of people have equipment, cars, boats, lawnmowers, all kinds of stuff stored under those homes. And I kind of chuckle sometimes when somebody says, well, if my house catches on fire, just go and let it burn down. I don't want a half burnt house. Okay, well, that's fine. But think about all your personal belongings, all of your vehicles, all of the stuff you've collected over time, not to mention your own life, your friends and family, your pets that may be in the home. And then also think about river property. Many homes are built in very close proximity to each other, as versus in rural area where you've got a farmhouse over here and 2 miles down the road, there's a farmhouse over there. These homes are very frequently very close together. So if one house is on fire and there's another one right here and another one right here and another one right across the road, it's so critical that they contain that area. You know, there's propane tanks, everything out there like that. So, it just seems that there's a lot of difference to me in properties as you get closer to the riverbanks than just out in flat rural communities. And it's just so much more critical, the response time and the amount of the water that you have. I think that it's also important to mention the wildlife and the rural, just the beautiful, trees and forests and hardwoods and timber and things like that are in between these places. So it just seems so critical to me that people that think about that, the community that we're in and the differences that we have.
And these fire departments typically bring communities together. When you have potluck dinners and stuff, the community, you get to know your neighbor that you may not necessarily have known from Memphis or Nashville, or whether they're local or not. So that's been really nice to go around to these stations and when they do. And like Randy said, birthday parties, retirement parties, anniversaries, we see these stations used for multi-purposes.
I think we can do a lot of I've mentioned this to the board. We can do a lot of preventative training at this station once it's built. For example, fire extinguishers. I have 2 in my home, but I promise you my wife doesn't know how to use either one of them. So we could have training events there for everybody to come and learn how to use a fire extinguisher. And there's a method to it.
There is. And we do smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors.
And we can have vendors there so you can order, product and so forth. I failed to mention one other person that's helped us get this thing organized, and that's Lori Brasher in Decaturville, CPA. She has voluntarily agreed to take care of all of our financing and has helped with our IRS designation and so forth. So appreciate Lori on that. I didn't want to leave her out.
So I have a question. So I know where you live, and I know how fun it is to get to your house and all those fun back roads. What's a fair assessment of response time from the closest fire station right now? From where she lives in Martin's Landing. So from the fire station right now that exists, how long, how quick would it take to get there?
Probably a 10-minute response.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with
I'm closer.
She's even closer than a lot of the others.
Okay, let's go with Doug Kimmy's house then. He lives on what's the name of your road?
It was this landing.
Okay.
Yeah.
How
You'd have to answer that.
Well, I haven't had any fires, so I don't know what.
I mean, a good, in 10 or 15 minutes is a long time.
it is.
When a fire becomes that incipient stage,
By the time they need it,
then it goes into the free burning, within minutes your fire's doubling every 2 or 3 minutes. So that quick response,
It's difficult. I don't mean to speak for you, but it's difficult to establish time factors because it doesn't even start until somebody gets to the station and gets the truck out.
yeah.
Right.
So depending on how fast volunteers are responding to the station, depends on how fast the truck's going to get there. Now, what we did do as we designed and developed this district, I drove from station to all parts of this new district and from where we thought our new location was going to be. We are miles closer to most of the residents in this, what's now District 10, than the next closest station. To give you an idea, I live in the backside of Riverstone, probably 8 miles from the closest station to me right now. Now I'm a little over a mile, or will be. So it really will cut down on that response time, which is the major factor.
Right, and that's a great lead in, David, if you could speak to the mutual aid, because the truck that shows up with 500 or 1,000 gallons, by the time 5 minutes or 10 minutes is gone, another station that's not in the district can be there.
Right.
Just basically take right over and keep the water coming.
And not just within Decatur County. In fact, I had a conversation with the Hardin County Fire Chief as I was coming up here today for automatic aid discussions. What we typically do is either single or 3 station response. If it's a car fire or a wreck, we send one fire truck, basically is what you need. But if it's a structure fire or anything that's involving a large acreage, then we send 3 stations. We send the closest 3 stations. And you mentioned, well, there's a station in Bass Springs, but they could be on another call. So then we would go to the next closest. But, our 911 dispatch is able to figure out who's the closest and send the closest 3 responses. Because like I said, the first 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, you're out of water, and hopefully that second truck can pull right in behind you and resupply you. And then we start running tanker kind of operations, refilling the primary truck that's located in the front of the residence. And we have had as many as 4 or 5 stations to respond, especially if it's a difficult fire. But just on an automatic dispatch, anything that comes out as smoke in the attic or anything that could potentially be a structure fire, we send the 3 closest stations. If we don't need them, we send them back.
And if I can add to that, because a lot of folks that are watching this are, well, this is District 10, doesn't have anything to do with me. I live in Clifton or Cobb Farm or whatever. We're 10 minutes away from Clifton, where the station's going to be at. And I'll use a example that happened probably 2.5, 3 years ago when we had a tornado hit Clifton at 12:15 in the morning on April 1st. And it hit 12:15. I was here at 12:30, and we set up right in the middle of 641, just north of the Bear Inn, our command center, right on the road. 15 minutes after I got there at 12:45, the Decatur County Rescue Squad showed up with chainsaws and skid steer and a tractor and whatever. And they said, "Where do you want us?"
Yeah.
Right. It was, they didn't care. Somebody was in need. Your neighbor was in need. It doesn't stop at the bridge. It did not stop at the bridge.
There aren't jurisdictional issues within the firefighters. Now, politically, obviously, there are imaginary boundaries. But with the firefighters and rescue guys, they don't see boundaries. If it's 100 yards away and you need help, they go.
Most all public service organizations are like that.
Right.
Law enforcement or fire.
So what I'm trying to say is this is good for here, but it's good for everybody, because they've got people that want to go out and help, and it's not just confined to the little location over there in District 10. So.
And you're providing additional water resources to Bass Springs and Bob's Landing for their fire stations. So yeah, it's a good thing. Cerise mentioned the QR code or the website. Our information is available. Someone wants to contact any of us if they're interested in what the maps look like. We can show you the 1, 3, and 5 mile mapping boundaries. if you're interested in smoke detectors or any of that kind of stuff, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Our information is certainly available.
Yes, we'll be putting everybody's cell phone numbers for the four of us on there, so that you can contact us if you have a particular question or interest or an idea on how you can assist. I want to make sure before we get done, David, that you talk about the upcoming training. Do you have the dates for that? And
We do. We start usually the third Monday of January. I say usually because of weather. We last year we started a week late because we had about 4 or 5 inches of snow and ice. But we start January the 12th on a Monday night. It runs 10 weeks. It's 2 nights a week. You can miss 2 nights somewhere during the program and make those up. You can't come to half the classes, and well, you can, but you don't get the state certification. That's what we're after. And once you get the once you get through with this class and graduate and whatnot, then we send you to Jackson, Madison County for your live burn, and they go through actual live fire demonstrations with you with the not just with it's one thing to talk about the hose and lay them out and spray water and stuff. There have been several business owners in the Parsons area as well that have donated structures to us that have allowed us to throw ladders and break windows and pull fire hose and
That's awesome.
yeah, it's basically those that are scheduled for demolition. They just hey y'all tear it up and have fun, and we do. But again, we're not just looking for volunteer firefighters. That's extremely important. We're looking for community volunteers. In fact, we have volunteers that are on more than one station. Holiday McElwain in Benton County, we have 4 or 5 of those firefighters who are also on Hydro Fire Department in North Decatur County. So, they're volunteers. They consider that their district as well, even though it's on the other side of the interstate. So same thing with Scotts Hill. We have several Scotts Hill firefighters that are Decatur County and vice versa.
I believe we've had a person from the Saltillo
We do.
department that's asked to join ours once we get going too.
which is hard.
Mhm. We have anything else?
I think we're covering most everything except for me.
Just we need money.
We need money.
We appreciate the support, and as Cerise mentioned, we're not going to put a brick down or a block down until we have all the money that we're ready to go build the building with. So appreciate your support.
And this video will be pinned to the top at the Beach at Clifton Facebook group if you're in that group. Stacy and Christopher will have it on their YouTube channel, as well as I'm sure sharing it on your Facebook pages. And please share it. Please make sure that your neighbors and your friends, if they don't see this, share it with them. We'll have links that we can send out through emails to donate, but the QR code will be on here. Anybody doesn't want to do the QR code, we can give them information to mail checks or email them a link where they can click to pay. So that will all be on there. And we were talking about the location. I did a video this morning of the location and the lot that's been cleared that I will give you to edit into so they can see right where it's at.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
It's been very educational. And yeah, I wish you all the best, and I hope it gets completed very, very quickly. And that way all the residents have, a little bit more to breathe. My insurance rates over there in Riverstone can come down. So that'll be really
Right.
If you have a summer home along the river in this area or close to this area, and you are a firefighter and you're back in your home city, we would love for you to come and join up with us. And while you're here, maybe, even if you're just here during the weekend, or if you're coming for a 4 or 5 month stay during the summer, we'd love for you to be part of our fire department, and we need your experience.
I did have one question. So Clifton Fire Department, the city recently purchased a boat. that they're able to now respond to emergencies on the water. Remember you saying that the county has about 54 miles of coastline.
Right.
Does Decatur County have a boat?
Yes, our rescue squad, I think we have 3 or 4. We have several
Okay.
boats, and we use them more than we would like to. The drownings and boating accidents, and so we use them more than we'd like to. But yes, we do have the boating in Decatur County.
They're not equipped with a nozzle and a.
Oh no! It takes it takes a big boat to be able to propel water, because you got to pump it, and then the back pressure on a nozzle to hold a boat steady while you're spraying water. You're not going to do it with a John boat.
Right.
It's a fire boat's a big boat, but our boats are typically a rescue or recovery.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, again, thank you so much for coming in today. I look forward to the progress.
We'd love to come back in about 6 months and do a
little tour.
Do an update and do the work. There you go.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris.
You guys have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you, Stacy.